What's up, everyone? Today we are in my bait shop. I got all my bait making stuff behind me, my microwave. I got all my molds right down here, my soft plastics over there. And I'm gonna be doing a real quick tutorial video. It shouldn't take too long. I'm just gonna glance over all the materials, all the stuff, all the essentials, everything that I have that I started out with the bait making. Not gonna go too in depth on anything, just kind of a broad overview of what you need to get started in the baits. I've had a lot of questions. I'll pop those all over the screen right now. And just a bunch of my different bait making shorts. So I thought I'd answer those all in one quick video. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get into each individual thing that I have and how necessary it is and all that fun stuff. And then at the end of the video, we'll make some baits. First thing I want to touch on that you're going to need is proper PPE. Right here, just some old work gloves I have. You're dealing with a lot of hot material, right? The melted lead, the melted soft plastics. You don't want to burn your hand like I did right there on my thumb. That was about 2 months ago, and it's still pretty dang visible. You don't want to deal with it. It sucks, and it can hurt. So wear the gloves, wear jeans, and then the last thing, I just have this ventilation mask. Like I said, you're melting lead, you're melting plastic. You don't want to breathe that stuff in. Get a ventilation mask right there. The proper PPE, very important for making baits. Real briefly, I just want to touch on the hard bait side of stuff. I have my mold right here, my hot pot. I don't do a whole lot with that. I just have the round jig head mold, but I want to get a football jig mold, spinner bait mold, more of those hard baits. All you're going to need the same stuff. So we'll dive into that real quick. You're going to need some lead, right? You're going to melt lead. I just have a bunch of old tire weights that I got from a junkyard for free. You can buy the ingots and all that online. But this is how I got it. If you can find a deal like this, definitely take advantage of it. Get a bunch of lead for free. It's going to take me a while to run through all this lead. And then right here, I have my round jig head mold. This is from Do It. I think it was 60 bucks around there. And that's what I use to make my jig heads. And then you're going to need this hot pot. This one's just a portable one. You plug it in to the wall, and it gets very hot. Do not touch when it's melting. And then the last thing you'll need is an air fryer. The air fryer is for the paint when you finish the jig heads, and you paint your jig heads with this powdered paint. Right here is just the pink one I have. You can get as many of these as you want. You can just go with one color if you're not wanting to go too in depth on it, but if you're wanting to paint them, definitely get this. And you don't even have to paint them necessarily if you're just doing the round jig heads, but quick brief rundown of the hard baits. So kept the hard baits a little brief, right? I want to get more into the soft plastic sides of stuff because that's the easier stuff to start out with, and that's what a lot more people are going to start out with. So first thing you're going to need a microwave, just an old microwave. I would not recommend using your microwave that you cook your food in the house because it's going to get dirty, it's going to get nasty, it's going to get messy. So just don't deal with that. Just buy a separate microwave. I think I got this one for 20 bucks, and this air fryer too, I'll say real quick. You can get for under 20 bucks. I got this one just the other day off of Facebook Marketplace for 5 bucks. Right, so just find used stuff in your area and you can get it for cheap. So you need the microwave. You'll need these glass measuring cups. I have 2 of them, and then I just have these little stirring spoons. You can use a knife, you can use a spoon, you can use a fork, you can use whatever. And then this paper plate, which I said I'd get back to. So when I'm done melting my baits and I have a little excess still in the glass, I'll just pour it out onto this paper plate. Then once it dries, I can just peel it and then throw it into this tub with the rest of the old soft plastic. So right here in this tub, we'll go into it real quick. This is just a bunch of random old colors that I'll remelt in a bunch of videos, try and make new baits out of, all that. Just any soft plastic I find at a pond, I like to pick it up. I don't want it staying at the pond. I'll pick it up, throw it in here, and I can remelt it, right? Any excess from my baits, throw it in there. And then right here, these 2 tubs, pretty simple, same stuff as they're just old soft plastic, but these are from baits that I've sold, colors that I really like, and I don't want to mess up the recipe, right? If there's a specific amount of glitter in this bait right here with the red flake, I don't want to lose how much I added to that, so I just throw it in this Ziploc bag, and I can remelt it, remake those baits to look the same as I did the first time. With the soft plastics, you're going to need some Plasitol. That's the main ingredient that's going to make these soft plastic baits. Right here is a there's my hand, very small size of Plasitol. I kind of got scammed on that when I ordered it. I thought I was getting one this size, which is what I always order, but then this came in the mail. So not too happy about that, but right here, this one's empty. I don't have any more in there, but I've gone through quite a few of these quarts. You're gonna go through quite a bit of this Plasitol. That's your main ingredient. You need the Plasitol to make the soft plastic baits. And it ranges from anywhere to 20 to 50 bucks, right? You can find it online at a bunch of different websites. Now I'll go ahead and show you this tote right here. This is my favorite tote. This is where the magic stuff lies. You have your bait molds here. I'll lay those out and go in depth on each mold that I have. And then right here, all my colorants and my flakes. You can start out with just one flake. You can add as many as you want, right? I have copper, green, red, silver, and then a bunch of different colors. Pearl, brown, green, pink. Start out with one color, add 50. Really, that's how it can go. And then right here, I have my powdered paints, the pink one I showed earlier, my jig head hooks, and just all the miscellaneous stuff that really makes the bait come to life. So right here, I have all 3 of my soft plastic molds laid out. I only got the 3. Next one I'm going to get is going to be a crawfish mold. That one seems to be pretty popular. But right here, we have the 2.5-inch crappie flukes. These sell the best, both online and in person. I've had the most success with these. And then right here, I have my swim bait molds and my stick bait Senko molds. The swim baits, I really do like the swim baits a lot. It's real new. I got it maybe 2 weeks ago. So I have high hopes for these ones, but right here, these are the 3 molds I have. If you're gonna just start out, the molds I would suggest is definitely the stick bait, your Senkos, those are your real popular baits. And I would go with a crawfish mold as well. Those ones seem to be real popular, so if you were starting out wanting to get 1 or 2 molds, go stick bait and crawfish, and then you can add the swim baits, the flukes, and all that fun stuff. And now the last thing we'll need is gonna be our injectors. This is what you're gonna pour your liquid plastic into, and then you're gonna use these injectors to pour into your mold to make the baits. Right here is a dual injector, so I can put one color in here, one color in there, and make multicolored baits. Along with that injector, you're gonna need this piece. You set that on top of your mold, put one injector in this hole, one in this hole, pour them at the same time to get that split bait, and then right here, just your basic injector, put one color in it, you inject it into your mold. 2 things I forgot to mention, you're gonna need a pair of scissors. Scissors are just used to trim up the baits and then cut up the old soft plastic if you're gonna remelt it so it melts easier. And then you're gonna want some clamps. I have these 3C clamps, they work great for me. Really anything that's gonna clamp the mold down and keep it tight. Alrighty, so we ran through the basic equipment, right? Just glanced over all of them, real quick rundown of everything that I have so far. And like I said, there's a lot more that I'm wanting to add to the collection to make more in different kinds of baits, different colors, all that. But that's just gonna be the quick rundown. Right now, we'll go ahead and make a couple different baits, and that'll wrap up the video. I hope you guys learned something. If you're wanting to get into bait making, just give it a try. I mean, like I said, I'll link some of the molds, colorants, and all that down in the description where I've got my stuff, where I started out with. I know there's a Do It soft plastic kit. I think it's like 80, 90 bucks. I'll link that as well. That's what I started out with. I bought that kit, and it's really grown, blossomed into all this, and hoping a lot more as well. So let's get into making some baits, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take my C-clamps, just space them out somewhat evenly. Gonna grab a bunch of this and just start cutting it up, making it smaller, easier to melt by cutting this stuff up instead of just throwing it in there. All right, so it's not completely melted. We got to throw it back in the microwave for about 30 more seconds to get some of those clunks out of there. Right on the top, you can see a couple bubbles rising. Now, that's been an issue that I've ran into a bunch, is the bubbles. And I know there's a couple different methods. The best one that I have heard is the vacuum chamber, which can be a costly purchase. There's other ways around it, cheaper ways around it. If you have any advice on the bubbles, make sure you comment that down below, because that's still something I'm trying to learn and get through the kinks of, but just wanted to point that out real quick. Now we'll throw it back in the microwave to finish melting it and make these baits. And now I got all this excess. I just like to pour it on the plate. Now get a little onto that crack, just get some of that air out of there. And there we are. Here's some of the baits we made in this video, and baits that you can easily make just starting out. I'll put a bunch of links in the descriptions of where you can get these supplies. I'll also link my website if you're interested in buying any of my baits.